Ninth Company. I really do think that the film industry should make more movies about the Soviet war in Afghanistan. I've only seen this one, Rambo 3, and Charlie Wilson's War, and out of the three, I'd say that this is the best one. The war scenes are extremely well done and perfectly capture why this was such a nasty conflict. The ending battle really is an excellent and thrilling scene. I didn't develop a very good connection with the characters, I'm afraid. Many of them actually do some immature and stupid things in the movie. But what I did feel, though, was the strong friendship between these young soldiers, so I guess in that regard, you do care about them. After watching this, it got me to thinking, why didn't the US learn from the USSR about fighting in Afghanistan? It just isn't worth it in the end and really is futile. My respect goes out to the Soviet soldiers who fought in that war, and I think yours will too after you view this film. I'd give Ninth Company an 8 out of 10. His Girl Friday. I had this one in my collection for a while, but for some reason I didn't watch it until now. I thought this was a very good comedy and definitely one of the more fast-paced movies of its time, which is a very notable quality it has. Particularly around the last 45 minutes, the film really just picks up speed and it's hard to walk away. Cary Grant delivers a fantastic performance as Walter Burns, a very sleek character who does things out of his own self-interest, and his performance is greatly accompanied by Rosalind Russell, who is also very good as Hildy Johnson. I also really enjoyed how the movie portrays the newspaper industry as one full of people disregarding those around them, and society, of course, and just doing what benefits them at the end of the day. And this is, of course, reflected in Cary Grant's character. Overall, it's a very thrilling and wacky comedy filled with really likable characters. Certainly a film that's influenced me to go and watch more Howard Hawks films sooner. I would give His Girl Friday an 8 out of 10. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. I've been going through the Apes franchise and I've liked all the films so far. What did I think of this one? Pretty good. I didn't think it was as good as Escape from the Planet of the Apes, but I do prefer it to Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I'm really glad Roddy McDowall played Caesar. He was wonderful as Cornelius in the previous films, and it's good to see him stay with the franchise, even though he didn't really need to. Another cool thing about this movie is the depiction of the human world that has enslaved apes. It really does make you side with the apes against the humans, seeing the cruelty and domination that is inflicted upon the captive apes, and of course this makes their eventual rebellion all the more engaging. At times I felt that the movie got a little bit slow, which is especially disappointing considering it's such a short movie, but that is only my opinion. This is a very good science fiction film and a worthy sequel to this franchise. I would give Conquest of the Planet of the Apes a 7.5 out of 10. The 39 Steps. I'll be brief with this one. I didn't think this particular Hitchcock film was that great. While it did have its suspense, I think that it lacked the Alfred Hitchcock feel that his later films had. I guess as an earlier one of his films, his style was still in development. The two leads did a very good job though. It's not my least favourite of his movies. I prefer it to Frenzy, which is a movie I don't care for all that much. But I wasn't left impressed with this in the same way I am with almost every film that he's made. I'd give The 39 Steps a 7 out of 10. Open Your Eyes. I thought that this Spanish film was great. It's very original, is incredibly well executed, and really psychologically impacts the audience. It is about a man who meets the love of his life, but is then severely disfigured in a car accident, and from there begins to lose his grasp on reality, and can't tell the difference between reality and his dreams. Eduardo Noriega delivers a fantastic performance as the main character, Caesar. You can't help but feel a strong attachment to him because of the story's focus and the effect of the director's techniques. Penelope Cruz also delivers a very good performance as Sophia. Open Your Eyes toys with the mind of the audience a fair bit, which is one of the very best things about it. It's easy to understand, but there isn't a time when you fully grasp what's going on completely, even if you think you do. It makes the several twists and turns of the story more surprising. the best of these being the ending, which I thought was incredibly well done. The movie really does take the energy out of you, because it puts you in the shoes of the main character so well, so all the mental trauma that affects him has an effect on you as well. So if you're looking for a film that develops that sort of a link with the audience, I would say that this is one that you should check out. Open Your Eyes isn't always an easy movie to watch, but it certainly is an enjoyable and overall very well thought out movie. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. MASH. I borrowed the DVD of this from my friend just to fill up some time. I'm not that familiar with the TV show, but I do think it is funny. As far as this film goes, it is good, but not something I'd consider to be great. I thought the cast did a very good job, notably Donald Sutherland and Robert Duvall. The jokes are overall pretty funny too, and make me wish that more modern comedies would try this kind of humour out. The film doesn't have a story and is merely just a series of antics that carry on for almost 2 hours, but they do overall reinforce the general premise of a group of people doing crazy things to cope with the horrors of the Korean War. It's not a story-driven movie, but it works well as a joke-driven movie. I don't think MASH is a great film, but it certainly is one that I got joy out of watching. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Eight-Legged Freaks. This is a movie I've liked ever since I was a little kid. As far as horror comedies go, I think this one is very underrated and makes me wish the big bug genre would get some kind of a revival. The movie is very campy, has outdated effects, has some very pitiful acting, even if some of the actors have performed quite well in other movies. It steals material from other films such as Tremors and Dawn of the Dead, and it has a fair few plot holes. But despite all these flaws, it never ceases to be entertaining for me. It's got some very funny jokes, and a fun factor that I think is just the best thing about it. Think about it. Giant spiders attack a small town. That's just simply cool. I think that if you haven't seen this before, give it a watch, but know that it is a very silly movie. I'm confident that you'll be able to like something about it. I've liked it ever since I was a kid, and I still enjoy it quite a lot now. I'd give Eight-Legged Freaks an 8 out of 10. Europa. I thought that this movie was great. It's entertaining, but outside of that, it's artful, incredibly well directed by Lars von Trier, and also has an effective dark tone. The film is about an American man who takes a railway job in post-war Germany and finds his own services being exploited by the Allies and the wealthy family that owns the railway, which becomes more complicated after he falls in love with the manager's daughter. Lars von Trier has demonstrated enormous talent in the making of this film. He has made use of both black and white and colour photography to give his film a very unique feel, and the higher use of black and white in combination with the film's musical choice and overall subject matter create an atmosphere that's hard to describe, but it really does illustrate the struggles of living in Germany in late 1945. This style is also made better by the occasional use of a narrator who acts as kind of a watchful figure over the main character. I thought that was a really cool touch. The two leads deliver very good performances as the characters Leopold and Katharina, but what really makes it worthwhile is the experience of watching the movie itself. It's very dreamlike, unique, written very well, and just goes to show what visual power a film can have. I give Europa a 9 out of 10. You Only Live Twice. You know, the more of these movies I watch, the more I grow attached to the James Bond series and feel a need to satisfy my growing addiction to them. This isn't my favourite of the series so far, but it's still a pretty damn good one, like they all have been. Sean Connery proves once again he's a great actor, like he always does, and truly fits the character like a glove. Donald Pleasance delivers a great performance as the main villain, however I do wish he had a bit more screen time. And Karen Dorr as the villainess Miss Brandt, hot damn, that's all I gotta say. The action scenes in this movie are very well done, probably just as good as the ones in Thunderball, which I thought were the best of the series from what I've seen so far. The helicopter sequence definitely comes to mind in regard to those action scenes. I found it to be an incredibly well done and suspenseful scene in the movie. Another great side to this movie is the Japanese setting. I think that's just awesome, and of course, it also provides the opportunity for a few ninja scenes, the opportunity to look into Japanese culture, and it shows off some beautiful Japanese landscapes. In general, this is a great action movie, also a great James Bond movie, and it gets me excited to see the next one. I'll give You Only Live Twice an 8 out of 10. The Apartment. Since I watched Save the Tiger, I've got a big interest in seeing more films with Jack Lemmon in them, and after viewing this, I can say that he's beginning to become one of my favourite actors. I also felt very keen on this since I was looking to watch more films directed by Billy Wilder after seeing Sunset Boulevard a while back, and this is definitely my favourite of his films so far. Jack Lemmon plays a simple man working for an insurance company who wants to rise up in the company by loaning out his apartment to his promiscuous co-workers, and he finds that things become complicated when love walks into his life. Lemmon's performance is absolutely fantastic. It's really hard not to like the guy, and there are also very strong supporting roles by Shirley MacLaine and Fred MacMurray. The movie has quite a bit of humour, which definitely makes the movie really comfortable to watch, but the actual drama is much better and is quite engaging. It really helps you connect with the characters in their struggle to find that one special someone, as well as maintain their own professional integrity. It works very well as a romance film, so I think that may very well be its best department. Sadly, the last 15 minutes of the DVD broke down on me because of the last person who rented it must have mistreated it, but I looked up the ending and thought that it was a perfect way to conclude the story. I personally suggest you get around to buying this movie straight away because I think that it's a must-own film, especially for fans of Billy Wilder and Jack Lemmon. I'll give The Apartment a 9 out of 10. Anyways guys, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.